Okay, so you're a month or two in. Firstly, let me just say congratulations. You have found the most amazing game. This is such a rich game of experience. It will take you all around the world in different courses with amazing people. But it's hard, it's really hard, and it's frustrating, and it's incredible, and it's really annoying, and it's very addictive. I'm Dr Noel Rousseau. I've been coaching beginners for 30 years. These are the key patterns you want to get under your fingertips in the first 2 or 3 months. Now, some of these things are going to be your sort of basic patterns, your technique, if you like. But alongside that, we also need to be learning some really core skills, some core skills that often kind of go under the radar and are a little bit harder to coach, a little bit harder to tease out, if you like. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to cover some core techniques and also see if we can build some key skills at the same time. So in the golf swing, we are propelling moving the club with predominantly a swinging of the arms. You can see here how I'm swinging my arms and my body is moving in order to support that motion, as opposed to the other way around. It is most definitely not a motion of the body in order to kind of move the club. Swing the club with your arms and the body will support that with balance and flow. That's our main goal. So for that to happen, we need to know the key shapes with our arms and also how we use our wrists. So first up is the L shapes. So L shapes are this motion here. So you can see as I make my backswing, so I'm sort of turning my body in that direction, staying pretty centered, and I'm creating an L shape with my arms. So that L shape is the lead arm and the club shaft. So this arm straight, this one would be bent at this point, and then as I swing down and through, I would unhinge my wrists and hinge them up again to create an L shape on this side. So it's kind of a reverse L shape, if you like. So I've got L shape, pull down, swoosh, and an L shape on the other side. And being able to make those shapes and not kind of lose connection because we're trying to hit the ball and not kind of drag our arms in is quite a key skill. Hold on a minute, before we go on, let's just slow this down for a second and understand what I meant by wrist hinge. So that hinging of the wrists is absolutely fundamental to creating what we call angular momentum. So that's essentially how we slow the handle down and whip the club head through. So essentially it gives us fluidity, balance and club speed. So the wrist hinge is essentially this motion. If you hold a club out in front of you, maybe split with your trail hand, your bottom hand down the shaft, if you just lift the club up like so, that puts a hinge here. I'm calling it wrist hinge, you'll hear it called other things. Pull our hands together, so it's that up and down motion, which is a really powerful chopping motion, if you like. We're obviously not going to move it in that plane, but it creates real speed and whip and power. So first up, it's an up and down motion, and never more than 90 degrees. It's not like the more we do, the more power we get. 90 degrees there is plenty. Now, it's key patterns that I see when people are learning is they'll bend from their elbows and not the wrists. That is not the same kind of angular momentum. We want that structure with the lead arm out and the wrist hinge. Then we'll get this lovely pull and swoosh. Meanwhile, the club head, as we're doing that, is moving around a circular arc. And that circular arc looks like this. So I'm thinking about my L shapes. Meanwhile, if we think about the motion of the club head, it is swinging around this circular arc. And that's one of the really core skills, is appreciating that it's not just a mechanical motion of arms and body. We've got to be connected to the movement of the club. So it's that circular arc, the club head arcs out, sweeps through the ball, and continues around this circular pattern into the through swing. And learning that connection with the club head so that we're swinging it, not just moving it, can be quite a hidden skill. And the best analogy I can give you is my wife needs to put on some muscle, essentially. So I bought her a kettlebell, just a very lightweight kettlebell. I think it was about 6 kilos, maybe 8 kilos. And she's lifting it and she's saying, "Oh, you bought me one that's too heavy. This is too heavy." And of course I was like, "Hun, you need to swing it. You need to create some momentum and you need to connect to the weight of it and swing it." And of course that's the same in the golf swing. We are not kind of moving it and controlling it or over controlling it. There is always, or there should be, a sense of swing. And for that we need to connect to the weight at the end. which is why often when I'm coaching learners and high handicappers, I've got these tools that I have which have a bendy shaft and a weight at the end. So I know many of you will have seen these, or probably have one of these in your garage. Often it's got a yellow end to it, bendy shaft, weight at the head, and the aim being to pull and swoosh, but really connect to the flowing motion of the head and how we interact it. It's definitely not about trying to put maximum speed. It's trying to work with the weight of the motion and create that swing. But probably the simplest thing is just this weighted ring, and you can get these off anywhere really, and they're only £5 or so. Slip that down the end of the club, and it's not very heavy to hold, but it's really heavy to swing. So again, the task would be keep it very smooth and fluid, and see if you can work with the weight of the club rather than trying to over control it. And that really is the essence of a golf swing. I am moving now to get the swing rather than kind of over controlling and pulling and dragging, etc. I've got to work in harmony with the weight of the club. And that brings me on to our last kind of technical part for today at least, and that is the body motion. So we've got our L shapes, we've got an appreciation of the circle, but to truly have the club head moving around that circular arc and have the body supporting the motion of the arms, we need to be moving our body with it. So in backswing, in simple terms, there's a sort of rotation of the body, chest pointing that way, and then in the downswing, I'm going to push off this right foot. I'm going to turn through and finish facing the target, belt buckle pointing forwards, and my back foot right up on tiptoe. Okay, so putting that together, I've got my L shape. I'm going to pull my arms down, thinking about the circle, all the way through, facing the target, and back foot up off the ground. Now, you might have noticed that everything we've done today has been off a tee, quite a large tee actually, and I think that is really important when we're learning. And I know the game isn't played off a tee, you've got to hit off the grass, you've got to take a divot. I would rather you learn to trust the motion of your swing that collects the ball than be too ball focused and anxious about trying to find the right contact. And on that note, if you are going to find that oftentimes you kind of lose your strike, you start topping it, shanking it off the edges. That is absolutely part of learning. I wouldn't overthink it. I would just go back to making our L shapes and seeing if you can just hit the tee. Just keep returning to that skill, and all the while you're working on that simple stuff, your amazing nervous system is working out how to swing this club and coordinate it. Keep coming back to swinging and hitting the tee with a smooth, flowing motion. Now, I've not met a golfer yet who can't do those patterns. Those patterns are, not to say they're easy, but with a little bit of practice, we can kind of make those motions. But when that ball gets put down in front of us, strange things happen and we kind of start to lose our form. So your first challenge, if you like, is this. Can you hit 5 balls in a row where you hit the ball, hold your balance, and then as the ball lands, just tap your back foot? So this is a game I'd play with juniors all the time, and it is amazing how just that clear intention of finishing well so that you can tap your back foot really encourages our balance and our kind of complete body motion. So we'll go ahead and hit, and at the end when the ball lands, just tap the back foot, and you'll very quickly know if the knee hasn't come round or you've still got the weight on the back foot, if you've just sort of powered it arms only and stayed on the back foot. Really simple exercise. L shapes, balance, and tap your back foot. Okay, let's put all this together then. We've got smooth flowing circles, feeling the weight of the club. Within that we have our L shapes, we've got the right arm structure, we've got the wrists moving, and we've got the body flowing through as well. So what does that look like in motion? I would have a few practice swings to the tee. See if you can make contact with the tee while you do that. And here's the really key part. Let's play that game of tip-tap-toe and see if we can put that motion together without overly thinking about the ball. Do not let the ball interfere with your movement. And that brings me to my final point on learning this game. And like any skill, of which this is a really tough skill, you've got to be absolutely open to failure. There's no way we're going to learn this game without a whole lot of top shots, missed shots, and etc. So, you know, we need to be open to that. And as I said to my daughter recently on their way to our first ice skating lesson, if we don't fall over, then we've just not done a very good job as learners. We've got to embrace the motion, accept you're going to miss it a lot, top it a lot, and just go with it, and, you know, and have some fun with it. Now, you may have noticed in this video I didn't go through the grip and the stance, but I've done videos on that before in depth, so I'll link those down below. But before I see you next time, give those drills a go, see if you can hold your balance at the end of the swing, and I'll see you next time.